Move now to Mrs. Hanabusa.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Rock, you must have been pleased to hear the prior panel. No one said that the MSA should be repealed. However, everyone says that it's got problems and it's got to be somehow fixed. One of the things that I was struck by, your testimony talks about MSA being in place for 35 years and all the positives that have come from it. And yet we do know that the United States is importing about 90 to 92% of its fishes coming in for consumption. So do you by any chance have an idea of what it was 35 years ago in terms of the amount of fish that was being imported for consumption? And as you in your testimony stated that we're doing a lot better now, and you know the whole purpose of this act was to basically address overfishing. How are we doing? So first question is, do you know where we were 35 years ago? And also this idea of overfishing. And I'd also like to know how you believe we're going to address, you've heard the fishermen saying, you know, it's not sustainable for many of them. They cannot make a living on doing this. So I'd like to hear your response.
I don't have the figures for 35 years ago. I do know that at that time, within U.S. waters, a significant portion of the catch was being caught by foreign boats in U.S. waters. And that has changed. There is little or no foreign fishing in U.S. waters anymore. That doesn't change the global dynamic. We export an awful lot of fish. We import, for consumption, an awful lot of fish. Some of that is fish that we have exported out and has been processed and we import it back. In terms of overfishing, I think we've made great progress. We have put in place measures to end overfishing in all federally managed fisheries. We still have some concerns in international fisheries. I think you are starting to see, I gave some economic figures about job creation and job growth. I think that is a reflection of rebuilding fish stocks. That is a reflection of stability. But what those figures mask is that this has come at a transitional cost. Many fishing communities are having difficulty adapting to these new requirements. There's great economic opportunity for rebuilt fish stocks and economic stability, but we have to get to that place. And what I think you're seeing are transitional costs that the fishermen are quite rightly indicating has been very difficult for them to bear. So we bring a lot of tools to bear in such a situation. The Magnuson Act is not as rigid as many people believe it is. There is room in there to account for local communities, to design programs to better allow for new entrants and those kind of issues. But it requires effort on both us and the councils to take advantage of all those provisions.
But Mr. Roach, aren't the fishermen really one of the major players or stakeholders in this process? So if you're saying, for example, we've rebuilt and they've got great opportunity, but you're almost saying, but somehow they don't see that opportunity or they don't know how to adjust to that opportunity, what is NOAA going to do or about that? Because it seems like they're the people you should be talking to, and maybe do you feel any obligation to adjust the way you're approaching it so that they can better understand it or they can better take advantage of the situation?
So I think fisheries are diverse around the country. And there are fisheries that are doing very well and that are driving some of the economic numbers, and there are fisheries that are not doing as well based on local issues, environmental issues, regulatory issues, all kinds of different reasons. So I don't think that one message fits all when you're talking to the fishermen, and you need to reflect that variability and diversity of situations. We try very hard through the council process to tailor our regulations and our approach and our communications directly to the fishing communities themselves, and to reflect that there is no universal one-size-fits-all solution. What works in Alaska may not work in Hawaii. It may not work in the Keys. We need to be mindful of that. What works for an industrial commercial fishery may not work at all for a recreational fishery. So we need to be mindful in tailoring our message to talk to the fishermen themselves and to understand what is driving that local fishery, because it could be vastly different around the country.
Do you believe the law as it now stands gives NOAA enough flexibility to be able to address the needs basically like your regional councils, of the various fishing regions and addressing the fishermen in each one?
It gives us a lot of diversity and flexibility at the moment. Two things that we're doing to actually answer that question. One is we put in these annual catch limits in 2012, and it was our first effort to do this nationally. And we do not know whether or not, I mean, in that process, we identified some things that didn't go as well as we wanted to. So we are engaged in a process of looking at the regulations and trying to change them within the confines of the Act to take advantage of those needs. The other thing is, I think the chairman mentioned at the outset, we are engaged with the councils in a broad process looking at managing our nation's fisheries 3 to decide that exact question, whether the Act currently provides the kind of flexibility and opportunities we need to address all the problems around the country.
Thank you.